New Zealand cricketer Kane Williamson has stepped down as captain of white ball cricket too. Like most things he or New Zealand do, it was quiet and swift, just a press briefing, some crisp answers, and that was that. Just as quietly, New Zealand exited from the T20 World Cup with back-to-back losses to Afghanistan and West Indies. Kane Williamson too resigned as captain. But that's not the full story. He's also refused to sign New Zealand's central contract for the year 2024-2025. Williamson says he will still be committed to New Zealand for the big events like the ICC Champions Trophy next year or the Test Championship. Not as captain, of course. But he says he would like to do other things, spend time with his family, and yes, more importantly, there's also cricket around the world in the form of leagues.
Pursuing an overseas opportunity during the New Zealand summer means I'm unable to accept a central contract offer. Playing for New Zealand is something I treasure, and my desire to give back to the team remains undiminished. My life outside cricket has changed, however. Spending more time with my family and enjoying experiences with them at home or abroad is something that's even more important to me.
What started off as a one-off is now fast becoming a bit of a pattern. The way forward for most cricketers in their early 30s, figuring out different goals to keep them at par with the changing and evolving sport. So what were the reasons for Williamson to take this step? New Zealand just got knocked out of the T20 World Cup even before the Super 8s. They seemed completely at sea, which leads me to point number 2. There seems to be a need for a shift in vision and approach. Kane Williamson stepped away as captain in Test previously, and this one too seemed like it was around the corner. He'd been one of the longest standing captains, and yes, there would have been a general feeling all round of a need for change, and that begins at the top. Third, the lucrative leagues around the world. Kane Williamson, like many cricketers who have reached a certain age, realized the need to step away from the rigors and strain that comes with national duty. Now, don't get me wrong, not that there is zero accountability in leagues, but the onus is not only on you. And there are enough leagues waiting to snap up captaincy material who can hold an innings with the bat. In January alone, there are many leagues taking place simultaneously, leading up, of course, to the Champions Trophy. UAE's T20, that starts on the 11th of January. Then, of course, there's the SA20, the league launched in South Africa with IPL franchisee owners invested. Australia will have the BBL or the Big Bash League. That is set to conclude on the 26th of January. And then, of course, there is the BPL or the Bangladesh Premier League. So enough action to get in on for Williamson. And this move works monetarily too, especially for Kane Williamson, because I'm going to show a comparison of Williamson's contract in comparison to other captains of top teams in the world. This is based on the press releases of the boards and what it is as of now. If you look at the salary of captains at the top right now of top cricketing nations, of course, there's India, Australia, New Zealand, and as well as England, of course. Pat Cummins is the highest paid captain. In fact, based on reports last year, he's set to now scale the $3 million mark. Jos Buttler comes in after that. He's signed up a 2-year deal, though, with that amount being a contract fee per annum. The one a little over $1 million being a per annum contract for Jos Buttler. Rohit Sharma comes in right after that with a central contract of an A+ grade that guarantees him around $900,000 and then we have Kane Williamson with less than $500,000 per annum. And if you look at the pay that they get per ODI match, and each of these captains get around, of course, Jos Buttler and Pat Cummins top that list. Rohit comes in a close third, nearly $10,000 for him per match, per one day that is, and Williamson earns around $2,400. Of course, the standard and cost of living differs, but it also is about how much you can make in what period of time. So it wouldn't be unfair for Kane Williamson to look at leagues where he'll end up earning more for a limited window, a limited time frame and number of matches. In fact, Williamson at this point earns more than half of what he gets via the central contract for just 2 months of the IPL, the Indian Premier League, and he did not even play a match for a season. Imagine playing some more leagues and, of course, being available for certain events for New Zealand. Monetarily, Williamson earns much more, and of course, there's always cricket round the year. A win-win for him. He isn't just relying on his national commitments. Unlike India, New Zealand do not play that much of cricket in a year. But where does this leave New Zealand as a cricketing country? They are at crossroads now, with most of their cricketers, especially in the T20 setup, in their early 30s. Trent Boult has quit. Lockie Ferguson, another pace bowler, has refused the central contract too. So isn't it time then to invest in more young talent like Rachin Ravindra, so that the question mark of who next doesn't arise? Williamson has had a glorious career with the Black Caps. He's led them to World Cup finals, even though the regret of not winning one will always be there. But Williamson is saying, what he's saying is that his goalpost has shifted. You need to survive and you need to figure a way that works best for you. And after putting his team above him all these years, he's now decided to put himself above the rest.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.